Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, actions and decisions have consequences. In this case, the French think that they just go scot-free after they say, we're going to bring troops to Ukraine to fight the Russians. There's no red lines anymore. The idiot, not the idiot, he's not an idiot. I think he's just a weasel, Macron. I don't, out of all this supposed Western leaders, I think Macron appears to be the smartest of them all and the fairest of them all. But still, he is what he is. He is a follower of the interests behind all of these weasels. So we have here the great grandson of Lev Tolstoy, and his name is Pyotr Tolstoy. Pyotr Tolstoy is the chief of Duma. He's in charge, the president of the Duma, the parliament of the Russian Federation. And he had a little interview with a French weasel, and Tolstoy says a few things about the French people who might dare to be deployed in Ukraine. And there's an interview in French, you can find it, but I will not play it here. I will just read for you what exactly Pyotr Tolstoy told this weasel, and he basically says, we're gonna kill all the French troops that you sent to Ukraine. And Paris would have under 2 minutes to prepare for a Russian nuclear attack. Oy vey. I have 1, 2, 3 PPP articles here ready for you, plus a Wikipedia page so I can show you who this Pyotr Tolstoy is, because if you read just the articles, you will find out that he's just a guy over there, just a Putin puppet. And all right, let's start with the first article. Newsweek. Russia vows to, and I'm quoting, kill all French soldiers sent to Ukraine. All right, this is what Pyotr Tolstoy says. Russian forces will kill all French soldiers who are deployed to fight in Ukraine, a Russian lawmaker has said. Pyotr Tolstoy, the deputy chairman of the lower house of Russia's parliament, made the remarks in an interview with French broadcasting television news network BFM TV that aired on last Thursday. Here is Pyotr Tolstoy. He is a fluent French speaker, and I heard him, or at least I read some of his statements in the past, and are very interesting, to say the least. They should scare a little bit these weasels, but these guys are just infantile, so they have no fears. And I'm quoting Tolstoy. We are going to kill all the French soldiers who are going to come to Ukrainian soil, because today, during the conflict in Ukraine, there are 13,000 mercenaries, including 360 French. End quote. Tolstoy said, and I'm quoting again, 147 have already been killed. So 147 citizens of France were killed in Ukraine. In the interview, he also says that we, the Russians, will wrap the French cadavers into the tricolor, in their tricolor flag, white, blue, and red, and send them to Orly. That's an airport in Paris, Orly Airport, and Charles de Gaulle. I think there's two of them. Anyway, I've been to Orly, just as a matter of fact. His comments came after French President Emmanuel Macron doubled down last week on the possibility of sending ground troops into Ukraine. Macron has said, let me show you, has said there are no limits to Paris' support for Kiev. In late February, he suggested that the NATO members could send ground troops to Ukraine, and the leader reiterated that statement last week, saying that, and I'm quoting the imbecile, we cannot exclude options because, and I'm quoting, the security of Europe and the security of the French people is at stake here. That's a lie. I think it's a lie. Now, that's that's creating panic. Should that be allowed? I know that creating panic in a movie theater is considered a felony, if I remember correctly. So saying these kind of things, that we are at, our freedom is at stake, what's going on over there, I think that's creating panic. How come these guys allowed? And not a panic in a fucking little movie theater. And in Europe, in a country of France of what, 60 million people or something, right? And not only, if you take Europe, what, 700 and some million people living over there, if I remember correctly. Nevertheless, he can do that. Why? He was activated, not active. Now it says here, Tolstoy echoed Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent nuclear threats, telling BFM, best friend mommy, TV that Russia was considering the possibility of a nuclear strike on Paris. Right there. The possibility of a nuclear strike on Paris, and that Russia is, and I'm going, ready for nuclear war. I don't think they're ready for this kind of thing. I think they're ready to do it in Ukraine first, somewhere in the field where they just give a warning. But sometimes you have to smack the crazy dogs. That's the only language they learn. And I'm not talking about the Ukrainians. I'm talking about these guys' interest behind our elected officials. And I'm quoting, what is important historically for Russia is to ensure the security of the country, Tolstoy said. So he says, we're not in that situation, Macron said, in any that all these options are possible to send right here, without ruling out sending ground troops to war-torn country in the future. He's an imbecile, but anyway, he fights for his, how do you call it, career, Macron, because remember, Macron, this is his second legal mandate. After this, he's going to where? To be the NATO president? Secretary, because secretaries, you know what the secretaries do. Yeah, I will book this, I will schedule this for you. Yes, I will. That's secretary, isn't it? Anyway, let's move to the next article. Daily Express. Vladimir Putin's puppet. That's beautiful, isn't it? Vows to, and I'm quoting, kill all French soldiers, and quote, after Russia's nuclear threat. Here he is. Puppet on a string. Pyotr Tolstoy, the vice president of the Duma. Now he's a vice president. What was here? Was he vice president here? The deputy chairman, okay. Has steered global alarm by openly discussing the prospect of Russia's launching a nuclear bomb towards Paris, and vowed that Russian troops, and I'm quoting, would kill all French soldiers, end quote, deployed to Ukraine. What do you expect? They're going to go over there to have a little swim in the Black Sea in Odessa? Maybe, but face down floating. Anyway, Tolstoy, a figure closely associated with the Kremlin, maybe with his country in the first place, no? Did not mince words in expressing Russia's calculations regarding a nuclear strike. It was not, they're discussing it. We are calculating, implying that the possibility of such an action was being actively considered within Russian strategic circles. Yes, do you know the Russian nuclear protocol? That's, I think, 4 instances under which Russia could do that, and none of them is a preemptive strike, as is this guy's is the freest country in the world. Just take both of them and compare them and see which one is more defensive and which one is more. We can queue up whenever we kind of feel like. If we feel that we might be attacked by whomever we want, then we can do it under our doctrine, nuclear doctrine. Okay, like a doctor. And again, we are calculating. What is important historically for Russia is to ensure the security of the country. Now, these guys are kind of imbeciles. I'm talking about the French elites. I don't know, some of them might like, some of them might not like the Russians. I don't know, I can't speak for them. But we have historical events that really left an imprint on the soul and brain and memory of the Russian people, and which are, I always mention them, the 1812 invasion of Russia. By whom? Exactly, by the French, under the reign of Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. And the second time was the Crimean Peninsula War. Remember, between what? It was 18 something, between Russia on one side, and the other one was the French, the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, and then what? The Brits. So 2 times the Russians were under attack by the French forces. So I think if this is repeated often enough, and it should, in the Russian schools, the children will grow up with this. Hey, those guys tried to destroy us twice. Now, if I remember correctly, Alexander II, was it? Maybe one of his friends at one point, of a charming friend of Napoleon Bonaparte. I think he got to Paris, didn't he? After his first abdication, or wasn't that with the Brits, obviously, because that's what happened. Somehow Napoleon was the evil guy, but everybody else was against him. What? The how do you call them? The dynasties in Europe were against a guy who dared to crown himself emperor of France. Well. So nevertheless, remember, I think the Russians are itching for another provocation from the French, more than their itch for provocation, let's say, of the Czech Republic, they're, or something like that, or Austria. They really want the French and the Brits. The Germans are somewhere on the 5th place, but I think the French are high up, including the Baltic states. Poland is high up. I would make the first spot, I think, the Brits, the Poles, Baltic states, not really, because Baltic states just like that, and the French. I think these guys are in top pole position. Ayrton Senna with Schumacher and whomever is over there used to be. So let's look at the third article, and here it is. Paris would have just, quote unquote, just 2 minutes to prepare for a nuke attack. Putin ally warns. Ally. It's like you would say John Kirby is Joe Biden's ally. Yeah, but this guy is, he's a parliamentarian. You hear this guy, one of Putin's allies, and they say Shoigu, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation. Of course he's an ally. He's part of the government. Why do you think here would be Austin is not Biden's ally? Or he should be America's ally. You know how that goes, right? If you don't, well, figure it out. And it says Russia would need, and I'm quoting, little more than 2 minutes, end quote, to nuke Putin. Yeah, Paris, a close ally of Putin, has warned in a fresh threat to Europe. Paris is not Europe. Paris is a capital of a country that acts in a hostile way towards Russia, including sending troops in another country to do something to the Russians. So it was not the Russians moving towards Paris, it was Paris and NATO moving towards Russia. So be careful, words have meaning. Question on the possibility of an attack on the city. Deputy chairman of the Russian parliament, Pyotr Tolstoy, told French news broadcast, and I'm quoting, we are calculating. Of course they are. Do you think the Americans are not calculating? Do you think the French are not calculating? They're like, oh, no. You have all these doctrines, all these, how do you call them, military, not doctrines, plans made years and just tweak a little bit. Do you think they don't have plans against Germany and Germany against France? They do. Why? Because these are not friendships, are temporarily alliances to attack someone else, to loot someone else. That's what they are, the gangs. They are gangs, like in a parking lot, a gang. And a gang right now is going to attack this guy, takes his resources. The resources will be distributed by the Al Capone, the guy in charge. And then again, they go home. And then when they need other resources or something else, again, they call the allies. And then they gang on someone like a pack of wolves. But a pack of wolves, unfortunately, or fortunately for them, stays together as an extended family. Here, niet. So tomorrow, let's say Germany does something stupid and France is activated, I guarantee you NATO goes against Germany. Do you think there's no plans? Each country knows that the neighbors, especially the neighbors, are their friends. I mean, it should be, but it's not like that. Why? They all have friends, plans against their friends. Do you think the Brits have no plans against the United States of America? They do, and vice versa. It's just a mirage. We're all friends and blah, 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 blah. Really. All right, let's go to this Wikipedia right here. And we have Pyotr Olegovich Tolstoy. He's a Russian journalist, producer, presenter, politician. He has been the deputy chairman of the State Duma since 5 October 2016. And we find her here at the end. Tolstoy is a fluent in French language. He is a member of the Tolstoy family, and Lev, which means lion, if I remember correctly, great-great-grandson. There he is. Fantastic. All right, my friends, what I saw here. He was nominated. He received nomination for the Nobel Prize in Literature every year from 1902 to 1906, a Nobel Peace Prize, right? Good for you. Good for you. But that the Peace Prize doesn't really mean shit, because former President Obama received it without doing squat. Before he got in the office, I think he was nominated, and then he was awarded the Nobel Prize. What is that? I'm going to compete to the world tournaments and I get the trophy before I participate? Exactly. So you can take a shit on that Nobel Prize. For me, it was done when other people got the literature prize, and that was a guy. I can't. What's his name? What's his name? He was born in then Romania. Anyway, regarding, I think knights, white knights, something like this, was one of his, whatever. What's his name? Well, I'll let you figure out who that is. But in the meantime, I want to show you this monster of literature. He was just nominated. He received nominations for the Nobel Prize in Literature, and then Nobel Peace Prize again. Nominations. He was nominated. He didn't win it. But Wiesel, what's his name is? Wiesel. Yeah, he got, I think, and not only, other. All right, my friends, here it is. Got about 2 minutes to get ready. If Russia activates his nuclear doctrine, that is, if the state gets, or it's a threat that it might be disintegrate, and so on. And the other one is, yes, what do you expect the Russians to do? And these guys are like, oh my God, look what, what's his name, Pyotr Tolstoy said. What did you expect? To receive you with bread and salt, like we used to? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.